From the snow-capped mountains of the west to the cypress swamps of the south and everywhere in between. This is the Southern Flight Podcast. I'm your host, Robbie Nelson. You are listening to the Southern Flight Podcast, live from Nelson Sign Studios. Today, we have Mr. Ryan Crouch from Sweetwater Game Calls. We're gonna talk about a lot of things today. Probably the biggest thing we'll talk about today will be turkeys. They are a turkey call company. These guys are local here, just south of Augusta, kind of outside of Waynesboro. We'll just say that. Most people would know kind of where that's at.
Yep.
So anyway, Ryan, how you doing, man?
Doing great, brother. Doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. So let's just jump right into the game calls first. So when was Sweetwater Game Calls founded, and what's your involvement in it?
So it was founded in 2016 by one of my good friends. He learned from Mr. Benny Briggs. I don't know, some of your listeners might know. Lightning Game Calls is Mr. Benny's call company. But Mr. Benny was a world champion turkey caller, and so Drew learned from him, learned how to call from him, learned how to build calls from him, and then that was back in probably like 2010, 2009, something like that is when he started working with Mr. Maybe even earlier. But then in 2016, he actually started the company. I've helped him ever since, he started it, telling people, about the calls, or, telling my buddies, hey, you need to buy some Sweetwater calls. But this past year, in 2025 is when I actually went and bought in on the company. So it's me and Drew own the company together now. And yeah, it's been fun. I've always, wanted to do something else. And now I have that opportunity. So it's been good, man. Like you said, we do a lot of turkey calls, a bunch of diaphragms. We got a bunch of different types of diaphragms. We got pot calls. We've got, different types of pots, so whether it's slate, ceramic, or crystal. Some people use glass. We do crystal. Just think it sounds better. We got those pot calls. We've got 2 boxes out right now. We're probably going to phase one out, so we'll probably just go down to one box call that we have, just to keep it consistent. And sound quality is really what we care most about. We don't want, you can't have calls going out, to people that don't sound good. So, call the sound quality is our, biggest thing.
Right. So all the calls are made locally there?
Yeah. So we have a guy that CNCs our pots and our boxes.
Okay.
Our design, he just CNCs them for us. But every diaphragm is hand stretched, hand cut, everything in Gerard.
Well, I know that just from living around here, I like the hat that you have on right now. For those of y'all that are not watching and that are just listening, he's got a Sweetwater hat on, and you go around town anywhere and you'll see somebody has that hat on. So y'all definitely seem like y'all have built a hell of a following over the years, which is great to see. I like talking to I told you this beforehand, I like talking to any business owner, especially when it comes to outdoor stuff. I mean, I'm a business owner myself, not necessarily in the outdoor world, but still like to talk to business owners and kind of see how things are going and how they run their deal. Your diaphragm calls, they always intrigue me, and I'm not asking you to tell me how they're made, but how do you come up with all the different cuts? And I mean, when you look at a diaphragm call, and I'll disclaimer to everybody out there, I've said this before, but if there's any new listeners, I am not a real hardcore turkey hunter. It's not that I don't like it. It's just typically I'm coming out of duck season where I've goofed off way too much. And in lieu of getting a divorce and losing my business, I have to work at some point. I just don't make it out as much as I probably should. I mean, it's been awesome when I've killed the birds, but I can respect the passion just like I have for ducks. So I know it means a lot to a lot of people, but when I look at a turkey call, they got all these crazy names for them everybody comes up with, but some of them they got a little V cut in them, and some of them's got like a little half moon and a V, and then some of them may have a combination. How do you come up with those? Is it just literally trial and error until you get the sound you're looking for?
Yeah, it's 100% trial and error. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are certain cuts that are staples, right? Like a bat wing or a V cut. You know, those type diaphragm calls. You know, those cuts in those calls have been around since, you know, they started making diaphragms. But when it comes to like your different layers of latex, all that stuff is 100% trial and error. You know, whether it's 4,000ths, you know, latex or 2,000ths, you know, or, you know, the way you stack, stretch. I mean, it's 100% trial and error. And I think that's the biggest thing that really sets our calls apart.
Okay.
Is, you know, there's been so much of that trial and error, so much research done, but the biggest thing, so anybody who's listening to this who has ever run a diaphragm call or has, you know, called a lot with a lot of diaphragm, the biggest thing that they'll realize is, okay, you know, I bought this certain call companies, I bought their V cut last year, and you know, I ran it and it sounded great, and then, you know, I went and I got another one this year, and this one doesn't sound the same, you know, and they're like, you know, why? It's the same thing, right? Why is it sounding different? And that's because certain call companies, they don't pay attention to like how they're stretched exactly. Everything. So the biggest issue with diaphragm calls is consistency. And that's kind of what sets us apart, is we make sure that everything is done the exact same way every time. The hardest part is the cut, because you're hand cutting those with scissors.
Whew.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm assuming that a little bit of a deeper cut on one call versus the last call you just made to make a totally different sound.
Yeah. Or, you know, a different latex. Just you know, the difference between like a 4,000ths and a 3,000ths latex. That'll make a difference. Your stretch, so how tight you're pulling the call. You know, we have a tensioner that measures, you know, how tight you're stretching it. So your stretch matters in the sound too. I mean, there's just, you know, the way that it's laid out. I mean, there's literally every single thing you do to that call makes a difference in the sound that it puts out. So, you know, you have to make sure that it's stretched the exact same way every time, that it's cut, you know, you can't do it perfectly every time because it is cut with scissors. So it's not like it is the same cut every time, but it's not. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a machine cut. It's like you talked about CNCs earlier. There's a CNC right there behind you. I used to hand make signs that I now make on that CNC. Mm-hmm. So it's impossible for the human hand to make a sign as accurate as that can repeat.
Exactly.
So exactly. I totally get it.
Yeah, it's the exact same thing.
In saying that, there's still something to be said about something that's handmade.
Yeah,
in a world where everything is automated and everything is, let's just call it what it is, made in China and put in a box and shipped across the sea. There's something to be said about something that's handmade. I have a lot of respect for it. So each one of those little diaphragm calls are all handmade still?
Yeah.
That's wild. So your box calls, I understand that you said that you get the part CNC, but I'm assuming you still have to do some fine tuning on that when you put it together? Yeah.
Yep, we do. We have to, you know, you have to make sure that every call that goes into a package is hand run, well, with the exception of diaphragms, is hand run by me or Drew, before it goes in that package, just in case, because like with your slates, with all your pot calls, there's a soundboard on the inside. And sometimes, you know, something might happen to that soundboard, or there might be an imperfection in it and it might not sound right. So you have to run every single one of those calls to make sure it sounds right and make sure it sounds like a turkey, you know, before you send it out. So every single call is hand run. Boxes are fine tuned. There's a spring and a screw, you know, on boxes that keeps the lid on, the tension on that. And that's another tip, actually, for anybody who's got a box out there. It's like, man, this box used to sound a lot better than it does now. What's the deal with that? Well, look on the top of your box call lid. There's going to be a screw right there, and you can tighten and loosen that screw, and that'll change the sound of your box. So
I guess over time they probably would loosen. Yeah. I would imagine. Yeah. If you're sitting there using it enough, and heat, moisture, and all that too, and the air probably can even cause some of that. Who knows?
Yep. Yeah. I mean, you know, they're wood, so
yeah.
I mean, you know how wood works.
Oh yeah.
Expands and contracts.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I know. Unfortunately, I know all too well in the sign business. I can relate to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's that can be a nightmare. Anyway, so right now you guys are how do you distribute your calls? Being that y'all are a small handmade local company, are you distributing them? Is it just word of mouth? Do you guys have a website? Like what are y'all doing to sell your calls?
Yeah, so we do have a website. It's sweetwatercalls.net. So we've got a website, and then as far as stores, there's local stores that carry them. But the easiest way is just go online and order them. But every single one of those gets hand packaged and hand shipped out, sent to USPS and to your door.
I love it, man. I love it. So I know you were turkey hunting this morning. So how's your season been going so far?
Man, I haven't been as much as I would like to, just because I've got a 15-month-old daughter and a 2-month-old son.
Bless your heart.
Yeah. So I haven't been as much as I'd like to, but I think I've had five birds die in front of me this year. So I've killed one, and then called in a few for other people. And then I've had actually two kids. Called in 2 birds for 2 different kids. One my little cousin, and then other my nephew. And they were both their first birds ever. So it's been a really good season, man. It's been a lot of fun. South Carolina, today was my first day hunting over there. This is the first chance I've gotten to get over to Carolina. But I got whooped up on today, but that's all right. I'll be back at it tomorrow.
It seems like that's a common theme in any kind of hunting, though. Especially with turkeys for me. Turkeys for me are just like this. I just don't understand them. I really just don't. When they're gobbling and you can hear them, it's awesome.
Yeah.
I told you this before. That I don't know when to move, when to call, when to shut up, when to not. I just feel like I'd fumble all over myself when it comes to turkey hunting. They're just like a foreign deal to me. But there is something really cool about when a turkey is fired up. Hearing him, watching him come in, just all blowed up. They are a majestic animal. There's no doubt about it. I have a lot of respect for them. I just suck at hunting them.
Well, yeah, I mean, hey, we just got to get you on a hot 2-year-old. That's all it takes, man.
I'm all about it, brother. Look, I'm not too proud for it.
Yeah.
If he looks and plays the part, he'll be the part.
That's right. But yeah, no, man, that's a lot of fun. Like this morning I was hunting. I'm only hunting public land in South Carolina, so that makes it a little more difficult as well. Public land birds are they're harder. They've been called to 1 million times already, and people have walked up on them, and all kind of other stuff. So public land birds, they're tough.
I can't imagine all the jacklegs you run across on public property doing that. I have a good friend of mine that is eat up with turkeys, lives up in near Royston, Georgia, and I was talking to him about turkey hunting this past week. I don't know, it was maybe a day or two ago. Are those too tight on you?
No, I'm good.
If I said they are, you can pull that out right there.
Yeah, I was messing with them.
Yeah, if you want to pull that out, you can do that.
Sliding.
Okay. But anyway, I was talking to him. He turkey hunts a lot of public ground. Not going to mention anything, Jared, so don't worry about it. But he said that if I'm remembering this correctly, this was like a week or so ago. He had a bird. It was on public ground. Mm-hmm. He had a bird all fired up. Bird was coming in and got hung up at about 50. Mm-hmm. And he said that he just didn't feel real good about the shot, so he's just kind of sitting there waiting. And somebody had snuck in, had heard him and that bird going back, and had snuck in from the opposite side and shot at the bird while it was like 50 yards away from my buddy. That guy missed him. And then I think after the fact, they got to talking, and the guy said, yeah, he was hung up out there about 50 or 60 yards. I figured I was as close as he is coming, so I was going to sling at him and see what I could do. And he's like, yeah, well, he's been sitting at 50 for 45 minutes for me, and I was waiting on him to get closer. But all right, man, that's just kind of what you got to deal with. And that same thing goes for duck hunting or deer hunting or anything on public ground. I mean, it's just, man. A lot of times there's nothing like getting an animal on public ground.
Oh yeah, it makes you feel great.
Oh yeah, there's nothing like getting of any kind, really.
Yeah.
Of any kind. Doesn't have to be a turkey, have to be a duck or anything, but there's something about it for sure. But the yahoos out there are there's no shortage of them. That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, every mule deer that I've ever killed was on public ground. There's a little bit different story hunting mule deer out west than turkeys or ducks here. But yeah, the story you just told, I had the exact same thing happen, at another piece of public land, in middle Georgia, where I was calling these two birds. They were hot. They were gobbling. They were coming in, and man, somebody came in. I was like 15 yards from a property line, and they were on private, and obviously can't go over there. So I just was 15 yards off, and man, this guy come in and got in between me and the birds, 15 yards in front of me. Shot on private, shot the bird, shot him on private, and he starts flopping, so the dude killed him on private, hunting public land. But, you just run into all kind of stuff, man. I've had, basically my rule is, if you pull up to a gate on public and there's a truck parked there, I go find a different gate to go to, but I can't tell you how many times I've pulled up to a gate and, got out and started walking, and somebody else pulls in behind me and they get out and start walking the same piece. And I'm like, man, there's so much ground out here. Why are you, you see I'm parked here, just go somewhere else. That's my rule of thumb. If somebody's in a spot, I'll leave them alone. If they beat me there, hey, good on them.
Same thing with ducks for me, man.
Yeah.
I still hunt public land when I go out west, and I have a hard time with idiots or stupidity.
Yeah.
I've gotten a lot calmer demeanor as I've gotten older, but I have a really short fuse for stupidity and guys that want to come up and set up right on top of you and shoot at swing birds or call at birds that are working your spread and just blow it. Just absolutely no courtesy whatsoever.
Hit 'em with a highball, man.
Dude, I can't. I just can't deal with it. The last time I hunted public ground in the state of Georgia for ducks was at a very popular local WMA for ducks.
Mm-hmm.
And I was set up in there in a spot, and I knew that it was a Saturday. I knew there was going to be some competition, I guess is where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
So we got there early, man. I think we were there at like 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, something like that. And got to the hole. Nobody was there. Everything good. Small hole, dude. You could shoot across this thing. 30 yards long, 20 yards wide.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. About 45 minutes before everybody knows. You hear
45 minutes before shooting light.
Yeah,
right?
you see the headlights coming, and you see the all the dog and all this stuff coming, and there's a bunch of them, man. There's 5 or 6 guys. Now, mind you, we had 3 of us. This is a small hole. I start shining the light at them.
Yep.
Next thing you know, we hear splashing there in the water. I'm like, hey, I know y'all see us over here. Yeah, well, we're going to hunt on this side. I said, bro, that's like a 15-yard shot between you and I. If you keep coming up this trail right here and going to get right there. Yeah, well, we just won't shoot low birds. I said, you damn right we ain't shooting low birds because you ain't hunting there. Yeah, this is something we ain't going to do.
Yeah.
And I might have would have got my ass whooped, but I wasn't bowing down on that one.
Yeah.
And so we, anyway, words were had, and they eventually moved on. And I'm sitting there the whole time thinking, when I get back, my damn truck's going to have a flat tire, the window's going to be busted out or something.
Yeah.
And stupid stuff like that can take the fun out of it. And it could easily be avoided if people just used a little common sense and a little common courtesy. But,
man.
But
be kind.
Everybody is out for themselves. I say I shouldn't use that blanket term. A lot of people are out for themselves.
There you go. Yeah.
And don't care. Well, it's public land. I got the same right. Well, yeah, you do. But if I came up on you and you'd been here since 1 o'clock, I bet you'd be pissed off if I said I was going to hunt across from you. And it's a safety thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, I just went on a rampage about ducks, and we were talking about turkeys. But
no, man, it goes both ways because you had the exact same thing happen with both of them, and it's literally the exact same thing. You set up, you get there early in the morning, you start walking into a spot, you get to a spot where you want to be, and then people walk up on you. So it's the same thing. It's just, just like you said, just be courteous. If you're listening to this and you're out there, you're a public land warrior, man, just be courteous. It's really, there's plenty of public ground, just move somewhere else.
And know if you get beat to a spot, even if it's the best spot in the world, if you get beat there, is there anything wrong with reaching out to turkeys is different, but from a duck hunting side of things, is there anything wrong with saying, hey man, you got room for me if you're by yourself or me and a buddy or something? Yeah. We've done that and had people hunt with us. I've got good friends I've made because of that.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. And if they say, hey man, we're full or no or whatever, okay, no problem, move on.
Yeah.
But the key is to be courteous, because it's public land. Everybody can hunt it. That's for sure. But you still need to use some common sense, because it's dangerous, man. People are out here with guns, and you don't know these guys from Adam's house cat. I mean, you really don't. You don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah.
So just be courteous. And I didn't mean to go down that public land road, but anyway, it's just something that gripes me. And I haven't hunted public land here. Of course, there's not any public land here that excites me for ducks anyway. Yeah. So I hadn't hunted public land here since that day. You
got to scratch them out here.
Yeah, man. I mean, we shot some birds that morning. I don't even remember what we killed. It's been several years ago. I don't even remember what we killed, but we killed some birds that morning. But I just remember the whole time thinking, it shouldn't be like this. It just should not be like this. Yep. And had it been one or two of them, I'd have probably just told them to come hunt with us. But there was like 5 or 6 of them. And I mean, this hole was tiny. And I'm like, you just get to a point where it's just dangerous.
Yeah.
But anyway.
No, that's the thing, man. You never know like how they were raised when it comes to firearm safety too. I work in a law enforcement field as my day job. My father was in law enforcement. He builds rifles now, after he's retired. I mean, I've had the general firearm safety rules drilled into my head since I was a kid with a BB gun. I mean, there's dear friends of mine that I have to get on sometimes, like, hey man, watch your barrel, but I mean, you don't know these people, so I mean, it can be dangerous too.
When you're duck hunting 10 and 2, man, those are the only 2 numbers you need to know. Point that gun straight out somewhere, and if it ain't in your zone, don't shoot at them. And we've all gotten excited and made a mistake, but you do have to be careful with who you hunt with.
Yeah, for sure.
So getting back on turkeys, let's talk about turkey populations a little bit. So I know just from prior conversations and just knowing you from around that you've been a pretty serious turkey hunter for a long time, ever since you were a kid. So in your lifetime, as everybody else has seemed to agree with, do you feel like the turkey population has gone down, at least in our neck of the woods? I know we can't talk about countrywide necessarily, but like this part of Georgia, Carolina area right here, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I mean, I can't speak to what happens in Nebraska, but, when it comes to, I've hunted all over the state of Georgia, hunted not all over Carolina, mostly central to eastern Carolina, hunted some in Alabama, but yeah, around here for sure. I mean, populations are definitely, and I will say a caveat to that. I think this year, from talking to different people and being in the woods this year, I think populations this year have really bounced back big time. And I mean, this is speculative, but I mean, I would almost guarantee it's got to do with the hurricane. Hurricane Helene came through and just well,
Oh yeah. You saw these roots still in my yard.
Yeah. I mean, I got root balls still sticking up in my yard. And when I was turkey hunting in Carolina this morning, I can't tell you how many pine trees I had to crawl over.
Right.
I mean, it's just a tangled mess out there. But I think Hurricane Helene, when it came through, I think it really did help the turkeys in the fact that there's so much escape cover on the ground from predators. There's so many places for hens to nest and hide those nests, for poults to hide. I mean, it's crazy how much cover is laying on the ground right now. And actually I saw a few quail, this year, and which is, a bird that used to have an abundance and now you rarely see them,
You're right about that.
And I've seen some quail this year, which is great too, but there's just an abundance of cover on the ground, and I think that hurricane really did help bounce back. I mean, there's spots where I've hunted for years and, maybe there's 3 to 4 gobblers there, consistently every spring. Every spring when I go in there to hunt, I'll hear 3 to 4 birds. Well, this year I'm going into those spots and I'm hearing 6 or 8.
Okay. That's good news.
Yeah.
That's trending in the right direction.
No, it is. It's great. I have a friend of mine was telling me the other day that, he had a video from the fall, and he had like over 20 gobblers, not jakes, over 20 gobblers, on one video during deer season. So, I mean, yeah, I think turkey populations really have bounced back strong this year. But as a whole, yes, they're trending down for sure. The heyday, people older than me probably might have had it even better. But when I grew up turkey hunting, let's see, that would have been in early 2000s. So I started in the early 2000s and then really started hunting by myself 2008, 9, 10, somewhere in there. And I mean, back then, you would drive through, like a rural farming community, where there's a bunch of fields on like a light rainy day.
Oh, hell, there'd be everywhere.
Dude, every field.
Even I know that.
Every field would have turkeys in the back of it.
Dude, I could take you within 5 minutes of my house right here that 8 or 10 years ago, we built this house in 2017, I think it was. So about the time and that was not even 10 years ago.
Yeah, no.
I could take you to 4 or 5 fields just right around here that on a pretty spring day or either a rainy spring afternoon, there'd be a gobbler blowed up in every field.
Yep.
Now, you ride through these same areas, and I can think of 2 fields within a good little, and I ride these roads a lot. I mean, I hunt a lot right around here, got a few hunting clubs or whatnot. I can think of 2 fields on private ground right around here that I still have a turkey in it every now and again. But I'd say probably 80 to 90% of the places I would see turkeys just on a regular basis back then, you just don't see them now. Now, granted, I'm not in the woods on those pieces. They're not my property. But you can kind of put 2 and 2 together and say, if you used to see him out here all the time, something's changed.
Yeah, for sure.
And I told you before we started this, right here behind my house, I'm allowed to hunt my neighbor's property back here. It was 10 years ago, you could go back there, and I know that turkeys can kind of change like their fall to spring areas.
Yeah, they definitely change their habits.
They can change their habits from fall to spring, but you could go back there during deer season and sit on my neighbor's, I think it's 6 acre food plot, and there'd be 30 to 40 turkeys out there every afternoon during deer season. And it went from like, and you could go kill 1 or 2 in the spring if you wanted to. I mean, we typically would shoot like 1 and then leave it alone.
Yep.
Shoot 1 and leave it alone. But you could go back there, and it was pretty damn good guarantee you were going to see a bird if you put in a little bit of time. You got a big creek system down there, hardwood bottom comes up to a field. I mean, it's set up just perfect for it.
Yeah.
Even somebody like me can kill a turkey there. So fast forward that, you went from seeing 30 to 40 in the evening to 8 or 10 to, I saw the first turkey back there this past season on trail camera in like 4 years. Yeah. The first one. I mean, they just non-existent now, gone. Now, in saying that, the habitat's changed some. The neighbors, that big ice storm that came through years back.
Yeah, it was like 2011, I think.
Yeah, the neighbors had to, the timber had gotten a little goofy over there, and they wound up cutting a bunch of that timber, replanted. So now you've got all these thick stand, the young pines, and the other neighbor across the way cut his hardwoods down. So maybe those turkeys just didn't disappear. Something happened to all of them. Maybe they moved because they didn't have what they needed anymore. That could be part of it. Mm-hmm. But it's just odd that, to me, that in a very short period of time, I've noticed the decline in turkeys like I have, and I'm not even a big turkey hunter.
Yeah.
But I've noticed it. So what do you think is doing it? I mean, I know that you kind of, you're hip with all the what's going on in the biology side of things, and you follow all that. So what are the chatter? What is the chatter that you're hearing on that end? I mean, is it? I hear everything from raccoons to fire ants to coyotes to habitat not being what it should be for them. I mean,
yeah. I mean, it's so. Yeah, obviously, I'm not a biologist by trade, but I go to the NWTF, their national convention every year. I'm the chapter president for our chapter, our local chapter, out of Waynesboro. But so I go up there every year, and I get the chance to hobnob with a lot of the biggest turkey biologists and those guys. So, talking with Mike Chamberlain several times, it's not raccoons, it's not skunks, it's not possums.
Okay.
It's not your habitat loss. It's not one individual thing. It's a death by 1,000 cuts. It's the fur prices aren't what they were in the early 2000s and 90s. You know, people don't trap like they used to. I can remember growing up where there was guys who would come around, just like our neighbor's family farm growing up. It was like 80 acres, and they had, you know, people that would trap there. There was always people running trap lines, you know, back in the late 90s, early 2000s. So you got all that. People don't trap like they used to. There's also a big decline in coon hunters. You know, I mean, growing up, knew a bunch of people who coon hunted. Now don't know hardly any.
And the ones that do, don't shoot them.
Yeah, that's right.
They'll run the dog up the tree, hit them with a spotlight, and go, yeah, there he is.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the next.
Yeah,
I'm serious. I don't understand it to save my life, but whatever.
No, I 100% agree with you. I know exactly what you're talking about. You know, the competition guys and stuff like that, competition coon hunts. But yeah, it's a bunch of little factors that have all culminated into, you know, the turkeys not being able to respond well, or you know, nest success not being great. But it's those little things, like, you know, you were just saying, you had, you know, one of your neighbors, they had their timber cleared after the ice storm. Okay, on our farm, and you know, we had the same thing. You know, so we had a young stand of pines, not real young, maybe 20 years old. They had just been thinned. That ice storm came through, cracked them off like toothpicks, man. So we had to clear cut every pine tree on our place. You know, so you have that, and then okay, so you know, the other neighbor cut their hardwoods. You know, and so it's just all these little things that kind of culminate into just a bunch of bad spot for turkeys, man. But it's not one thing, it's everything. So all those little things that you can think of. Yeah, I mean, and I know guys that have, it's in some areas it might be one thing. That's the thing. Like if you're listening to this and you have land or something like that, you know, something that you can manage yourself. You know, take a look at your topography. You know, see if you know, if you've got, you know, a bunch of like field edges, mixed pine, hardwoods. You know, if you got stuff that a turkey wants to be at, but your turkey populations are terrible, and you've got, you know, a good bit of land around you that's all got good land for turkeys, then trapping might be the thing that you need. You know, I've got guys that have trapped possums and coyotes, bobcats, and raccoons, but really focused on possums and coons. And they have seen a very good increase in their turkey numbers. And that was over the last several years, not just, you know, this year and this year that I'm talking about possibly being a bounce back year.
I wish I could remember the podcast, but I saw a clip of a podcast with a pretty well-known turkey. I think he's a biologist. I hope I'm not misspeaking, but he's very well known and well respected in the turkey world. And he was talking about going and helping people manage their properties, just kind of what you're talking about now. What can I do on my property?
Yeah.
And he said that these wealthy gentlemen, bought this property, and anyway, the turkey population, they had turkeys on it, but it was fairly low. And they did a bunch of habitat work they could do, but they started trapping, and they trapped over, was it 4 or 5 years? 4 or 5 years or something like that, or 3 or 4 years. It was an astronomical amount of raccoons. I mean, I'm wanting to say like several hundred, like I think north of 500. It was almost a number that was unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
Really.
Yeah.
And he said they trapped some bobcats and some coyotes and stuff, but a lot of like an ungodly amount of raccoons.
Yeah.
And that the number of turkeys that they estimated they had on there had like quadrupled in those same 4 to 5 years.
Yeah.
So maybe in his case, and of course I'm sure they did, if a guy's spending that kind of effort on trapping, he's probably also doing habitat management as well. So it's not just a one-sided thing, but it just seems like there's got to be something going on because it's just like across the board. And Georgia, what year did Georgia slice the turkeys number down to 2, your limit to 2, and change it to shorten the season? It wasn't that terribly long ago.
No, that's been we've been down to 2 birds this is maybe the 4th year. You know, and I do agree with that, man. Like I said, not a biologist, so you can agree or disagree with what I say or not. But I agree with what the state did. I mean, they put a bunch of funds, a bunch of research into every decision that they make. Whether you believe that or not, they do. I mean, I feel like it's helped. I mean, they've cut down the season, cut down the the limit down to 2, and I think it's only 1 in the first 10 days. I'd have to fact check that, but yeah, I think you can only kill 1 bird in the first 10 days of the season, or that might just be a Carolina thing. South Carolina also outlawed jakes, so you can't shoot a jake in South Carolina.
Oh, I did not know that. Okay.
Yeah, can't shoot a jake, and you can't reap, which is you know what reaping is. Yeah, so you can't do that in South Carolina.
Hell, I wouldn't want to do that anyway. Much less on public ground. You imagine getting your ass shot?
I'd never do that on public.
Woo, yeah.
I've used that technique with some success on private ground, but yeah, I'd never do that on public.
Hell no.
No, it didn't matter where it is.
That same guy was just talking about that shot at that turkey at 50 or 60.
Oh, yeah.
I saw his fan walking through there, and I let her rip.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, thank you.
Yeah, I'd be blind.
Yeah. No, thank you. So let me ask you, and this is an opinion-based question, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
With Georgia, unlike a lot of states that you have to either draw for a tag or something like that, with the new thing now, everybody wants to slam and everybody wants to travel and go shoot them in all the states. And turkey hunting, and we talked about this before, and we're kind of, I guess, segmenting into that now where I am, but turkey hunting to me is the new duck hunt. And for what I mean by that, for people that are listening, is in the mid 2000s, it was like this surge of popularity for duck hunting.
Yeah.
A lot of people blame it on a lot of people blame it on Duck Commander, Duck Dynasty, whatever. I think there's a multitude of reasons. I think social media has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm on social media too. Everybody is, man. I mean, I say everybody. I've got a couple buddies of mine that are absolute killers that you'd never know it walking down because they are anti-social media. So there are still some guys that have those old school values, but the vast majority of people are on social media.
Yeah.
And I think that social media, the chest thumping, the post up, the pile pics, the da-da-da, and I'm getting on the ducks now, not turkeys, but
Yeah.
I think that that's now going into turkey hunting. Would you say that would you agree with that, or do you not agree with that?
No, I mean, it's definitely, and I don't know if it's the whole, the algorithms are on social media are getting better, so they're delivering.
They're definitely getting better.
So they're delivering you more content of what you want to see.
That's right.
And that could be the case. But yeah, I mean, I do believe that, there's more people getting into turkey hunting, than there has been in a long time, which, I mean, great. I'm you as any hunter. It's kind of a
double-edged sword.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword, man. Because it's like, I want to go out to public ground and I want to be the only person out there.
But it's just not realistic.
I want to have that 10,000 acre block all to myself. But at the same time, like, I also know, where the money for conservation and where the money for, all the burning and the habitat work and all that stuff comes from, and it comes from us. So we need more hunters and anglers out there. I mean, we do.
But we also need educated hunters and anglers. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I mean,
courteous.
They are educated because they have to take a hunter education course to, they have to have that in order to hunt, Robbie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well, they don't teach you etiquette on there. At least, I don't know. I think I took mine in 1990 something. Is when I still got my original card in there. I have to look it up and see when I took that. But I don't remember. It's been years ago. But I don't. You can't fix stupid in some cases. But I do like your approach to it, though. Hunters in general all have an ego to a certain extent, and I'm no different. Everybody does. I'll go back to saying that the older I get with more maturity, I feel like that's getting less and less. And I hope that I get less and less egotistical, because there's nothing to have an ego about. I mean, if there's just not. There's not. So that's a little bit of a pot kettle, because you can go back to some of my old social media posts, and I am some of those knuckleheads. I mean, and I'm owning up to it. You go back to the GON days, back before Facebook was a real big thing.
Oh yeah.
I was on that duck forum back then, and
Yeah.
you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And back in those days, and I still have friends that I hunt with.
Woody's?
Yeah, Woody's GON forum.
Yeah,
dude. I used to live on that thing, man. And that social
little big doe 1-2. Look me up. That was my user. That was my user profile on there. Yeah.
Little doe.
little big doe.
Little
1-2.
big doe.
Yeah.
I like it. Yeah, I was R. Nelson on there, so I was not incognito, incognito at all.
That's funny.
I've met some of my best hunting friends on there, man. Yeah. A lot of the guys I travel with today, I met on that forum. So that is a positive side to social media. So that was social media before Facebook and all that was really popular, Instagram, all this other stuff. So, I mean, I'm right there. I'm part of that. I think that it's not going anywhere. That's for sure. It's too ingrained. I guess I kind of sidestepped my question, and that was I got sidetracked on myself, so I'll go back. But do you feel like, and I don't know this because I'm not in the turkey woods all the time. Do you think there's a huge influx of out-of-state hunters that come here to turkey hunt that hit our public grounds real hard? Or do you think that's not, you don't really see that as being a big issue?
No. Well, so let me address one thing real quick. People like me and you that have businesses, we can't be those guys who are off of social. We kind of have to have that social media.
Well, that's a fact, dude.
For
That's
our
my
business.
advertising.
Yeah, exactly. But to answer your question is, I don't see a lot of out of state hunters. But also you got to think about it like this: the eastern turkey, especially in Georgia, Alabama, South Carolina, is the hardest turkey to kill, bar none. Bar none. Especially on public ground. So most of the guys who are coming to kill their Georgia birds or South Carolina birds, their Alabama birds, they're either they have a connection that has somebody that they're going with on private, but you don't see a bunch of out of state hunters, coming to big chunks of public ground. I mean, I hunted a big chunk of public ground in Alabama last year, and I hunted there for 5 days and cut 2 gobbler tracks in 5 days and heard, I think, 1 gobble and cut 2 sets of gobbler tracks. So, I mean, it's tough, man. It's tough, especially in the South, these birds. I mean, anybody who has hunted turkeys all over will tell you that the birds in the Southeast are by far the hardest birds to hunt. I mean, it doesn't matter where you go. If you're on, especially if you're on public, they're tough birds. So I haven't really seen that big of an influx of out of state hunters. But you do see them. I mean, yeah. I mean, there was a few out of state folks at a campground at one of our local WMAs, 2 weeks ago. But back to the Instagram thing and all that. I don't know. I mean, I'm glad there's more people getting into it, but my thing is like with the turkey population, okay, great. We had a giant hurricane that destroyed, half of our community, has got a 100-mile wide radius, where it's just jacked up everything around here. So we have a good boom in numbers this year, but as a whole, turkey populations are declining. So it's like, I want more hunters, but like you said, it's a double-edged sword, man. I want more hunters, but at the same time, it's like, man, I don't want to see too many more people getting into turkeys because that's my thing. That's what I love, and I like that everybody has different things. You're the duck guy, like your thing is ducks. You love ducks. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love duck hunting too. You love to shoot doves. I love to shoot doves. You like to deer hunt. I like to deer hunt. But turkeys is my thing.
I get it.
and to, there is that selfishness. There is that selfishness that, is like, man, I hope too many people don't get into it, because, I want some birds to hunt for myself. I like going out there and hearing them gobble and killing them, But, and I don't know, I do see a lot of Instagram posts, like.
And there's nothing wrong. I'm not picking on guys on Instagram.
No,
specifically. It was more of a, I mean, I'm on Instagram. You can go, I don't post on there that much, but you can go on there, and 99% of the stuff I've posted on there are ducks.
Yeah.
I mean, so I'm not saying that I'm not part of that.
Yeah.
It just seems to me, and maybe my algorithm's getting good, but it seems to me that there are just like turkey hunting's the new duck hunting.
Yeah, and maybe that was a rant that I just went on, or a mild tangent. But
no,
yeah, I mean, I can definitely see that. Yeah, I mean, I can definitely see it.
I'll also say that, and I can't speak for turkey hunting specifically, but I feel like it's similar. With duck hunting, I just did a podcast on this. They say that there was 2 million licensed duck hunters in the early 1970s. Today, there's about 1.25. So we've lost a lot of duck hunters.
Really?
Yes. So in 1971, number of federal duck stamps sold was a little over 2 million. In 2024, 2025 season, because they didn't have the latest data out for this one yet, but 2024, 2025, there was 1.25. That's a big difference. Okay.
Was the federal duck stamp way cheaper back then? People were just buying them for as regular stamps.
I think, were they cheaper? Absolutely, they were cheaper.
Well, they probably weren't.
A dollar also went a hell of a lot further too in 1970 than it does now. So I don't know apples to oranges on that, but just from what I read, there's 750,000 less licensed duck hunters now than there was in 1970. However, it is crazy. But however, everybody you talk to that duck hunts says that, man, there's name a WMA anywhere. Man, there's so many people there. Try to go somewhere in Arkansas.
Yeah.
I mean, all those guys that go up there and all those boat races and fighting and all that crap that they do. Man, if I had to do that to duck hunt, I'd quit. I promise you, I'd get better at turkey hunting because I'd quit. I'm not going and fighting and getting in all that crap with them people. I ain't gonna do it. But what I think a lot of it's going on is, and I don't know, maybe this equates some turkeys, maybe it doesn't, is I think habitat is shrinking. I think urban sprawl is getting bigger.
For sure.
So you've got a lot of places that used to have wildlife that don't anymore because they can't live where a grocery store's at. They can't live where a big neighborhood's at. Now deer are somewhat of an exception. They can old deer can make a living about anywhere, but and make a damn good one too, honestly. But anyway, so it just kind of sidestep this on the deer. So you've got less places for these animals to go, right? Mm-hmm. So I feel like less places for the animals to go, less quality habitat for people to hunt, whether it be public ground, private ground, whatever. Access restrictions, getting harder and harder to access private places, access public places even. That the hunters that you do have are a lot more hardcore than what they maybe were in 1970s as far as the number of days being hunted, I think. I think if you look at the number of days hunted for a waterfowler, how many waterfowlers do you think, and there were some, I've talked to one on a podcast on here, but how many waterfowlers or turkey hunters back in 1970 used to make 4 to 5 turkey trips or duck trips a year across multiple states all across this country?
Yeah, no, that wasn't really a thing.
That's not a thing, right? Well, now you've got the Hunt 41 for waterfowl. Everybody wants to kill and I'm no different. I mean, I'm no different. I've killed all of them but 2, and I just hadn't put in the effort.
Is that 41 species?
41 for waterfowl, yeah, 41 species. There's actually a lot more than that, but that was when you start getting into all the subspecies and vagrants and all that, I'm not going to bore you with all that. But anyway, yeah, the Hunt 41 there's 41 main quote-unquote species. I hate that because there's more, but that's just what people, it's like a checklist. Let's go do the Hunt 41. Let's go kill them all, which is great, man. It takes you to a lot of cool places and all that. Nobody was doing that in 1970.
Yeah.
So as far as the turkeys, I know guys, like good friends of mine, that I know 2 of them right now that are halfway across this country hunting. and they'll wind up making 4 to 5 trips this year to various states from here to the West Coast.
Yep.
And I'm not going to name any of them just so nobody gives me a nasty gram.
Yeah.
But, you know, we'll travel to do all this. So I feel like you got a lot more hardcore hunters now.
Yeah,
so if you've got a lot more hardcore hunters really putting in this time and effort, information is like endless now. Nobody might have known that turkey lived in, you said Nebraska earlier, so I'm just going to throw Nebraska out there since we already said it. People might have not have known Nebraska even had a turkey back in the day from around here.
Yeah, yeah.
And then now it's like you get on Instagram and, you know, such and such in Nebraska, such and such in, name a state. You know, Montana, Wyoming, it doesn't matter. Just name a state out west. And there's turkeys everywhere. So I think you got a lot more people traveling and being hardcore about it nowadays. Now, I went on a rant that time.
I agree with you. That's definitely something, and that's something I really didn't think about it until you brought it up. But yeah, 100%. You know, like you were talking about the number, what did you say, 42?
Hunt 41.
Hunt 41. So, I mean, you got chasing 49 with turkeys, you know, and like you said, I'm no different, you know. I mean, so one of my, and don't get me wrong, you know, I mean, this isn't like a new goal, but, you know, I mean, I've always, you know, wanted to go everywhere and hunt every type of turkey, you know. I mean, turkeys is my thing. It's what I love, and I'm no different. I want to chase 49. I want to kill a bird in all 49 states that have them. I want to go to Hawaii. I want to go to Hawaii and, you know, kill a bird next to the ocean on some lava rocks. You know, that's pretty cool, man.
I know a guy who just did that last week, by the way. But anyway,
yeah, I mean,
people are doing it.
Yeah,
dude.
it's cool, and yeah, what that takes is it takes a lot of time,
money,
takes a lot of money,
effort,
you know, and yeah, effort too, you know. But I would say you're 100% right in the fact that, you know, there are a lot more people who are hardcore about it than there used to be, you know. While as, you know, I mean, don't get me wrong, me and you, we still hunt, you know, a bunch of different other species, but we have certain things that, man,
when that time comes, everything else is on the back burner.
Dude, I mean, and God, I hope my wife never listens to this, but with the exception of watching my wife walk down the aisle and watching my 2 kids be born, there's nothing better than watching a turkey gobble and coming right in your face and shooting them. Man, I mean, there's just nothing better. Nothing better. You know, in my personal opinion.
I love the passion, man.
You know, I mean, there's nothing better, man. Like me, even I took a great friend of mine, one of my best friends the other day, took him down on his place, called for him, filmed, you know, called one in right off the roost. He killed it, and dude, I was just as excited as if I had pulled the trigger. I mean, I don't care. I love the hunt.
Yeah, that's one thing I've noticed about hardcore turkey hunters. I know a lot of guys that are like that. They don't necessarily have to be the one to pull the trigger.
No, I don't.
They just want to interact with the bird, and they want to play the game.
It's the chess match.
Yeah, it's the chess match. It's kind of like guys, dog guys, that they want to watch the dog work. If they couldn't hunt with a dog, I got a friend of mine, if he can't hunt with a dog, he don't want to go.
Yeah.
I mean, it's to him, he gets his enjoyment out of watching the dog work.
And I love that everybody has their own passions for, I love that. You know, because I love watching a dog work, but, you know, I don't have to go hunt, you know, with my dog. You know, I mean, I could go sit in a dove field without my dog. I don't want to, but I also like shooting doves enough to where if my dog's not there, oh well.
Yeah, you still gonna go shoot the dove.
I'm still gonna go shoot the doves. You know?
That's right. Plus, there's always a good cold beer that needs to be killed on a dove field.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them that need to be killed.
Yeah, you said it, not me, but yes. You know,
this is strictly after the hunt, by the way.
Yeah.
Because I got a couple game warden buddies that listened to this, so that was after the hunt, guys. After the hunt.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, it's just dove season's just kind of, that's like the opening day of baseball, brother. Like hunting season's in for the next 4 months or whatever. So
that's another thing. It's like almost anyway. Yeah, well, let's not go down that road too.
Yeah. Then we'll have an hour podcast about doves.
Yeah, just about doves, man. But yeah, no. I think there are a lot more hardcore guys out there at it. You know, especially with like the ducks. You know, I mean,
dude, and I promise you, I'm no different. I mean, I'll go to the end of the earth if there's a duck there, and I want to go get it. I'm just stupid enough to to go.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just how I am. I'm eat up with it. I don't care. I just, everything else can just wait. You get one time walking around on this earth. And after my dad passed away and he never hunted, you couldn't, I've said this line on here before, but he used to say, son, that duck would have to lay a golden egg for me to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and go get in cold water.
Yeah.
He just didn't care about it.
Yeah.
But he never went and really did a whole lot, just worked. And he died unexpectedly. A heart attack got him. And I was in my early 20s at the time, and something changed in me when that happened. And I said, I'm just not going to do that. I don't know how long I'm going to be here.
Yeah.
I don't know. You don't know. I don't know. I mean,
No.
something could happen to us any day. And you can go make all the money in the world. And I promise you, when they put you in that box, that money ain't going in that box with you.
Yeah.
That money ain't going in that box with you.
No.
It ain't, brother. So you've got to go do the things you love to do. And I'm probably, if you've got a young kid listening to this, you probably don't want him to, because I'm going to tell you to go spend the money, take the hunting trip, do the thing you like to do, whether it be duck hunting, turkey hunting, go somewhere, go fishing. It don't matter, whatever it is. If you like to play golf, and I wouldn't give you a nickel to go play the Augusta National. I just don't care. Golf means nothing to me.
I'd probably do at least $1 or $2.
I wouldn't even. If I wanted to hit that wall right yonder, I'd have to aim at that wall over there. It ain't my thing. But I'm not trying to pick on golf, but what I was more or less getting at is you got to go do the things you like to do, man.
Yeah.
You got to. And so I am that guy. You were talking about when it comes to, or I guess we were both talking about there, where it comes to the hardcore wanting to go. I mean, I think I've 20 something states now, and Lord willing, I'll hit them all.
Yeah.
I kind of found a few places I really like, so I've kind of stuck on those the last few years and hadn't gone anywhere new, but I'm starting to get the itch to go scratch off some other states and stuff like that, and worldwide destinations I want to go and all. But by all means, man, if you like to do it, go do it, because one day you're a kid, the next day you blink and you're graduating high school, and you blink after that and you got a beard and you're almost 40, and I guarantee you I'll blink tonight, and then I'll be, if I'm lucky enough to still be alive, I'll be an old man.
Yeah,
and
that's true, man.
You got to go do it, man. So
Yeah.
I respect the passion. Let's swap gears a little bit. Let's talk some turkey tactics. Yeah, let's talk some turkey tactics. Talk to me like I'm 5 because I don't know much about them. What would you say, and this is going to be a loaded question, what would you say is the number one mistake, or a real common mistake people make when it comes to when they're trying to kill a turkey? I know that's a loaded question, but it could be a top 2 or 3.
Yeah. There's a couple big ones. The first thing is getting too close to a bird on the roost. That seems to be a pretty common mistake with newer hunters.
Now we're talking about these guys know that they're roosting there, so they try to inch in too close to him.
Yep. That, or he's gobbling on the limb.
So they're steadily
gobbling
walking
up in the tree, and they're steadily walking, unless they're crow calling or owl calling or something to him, trying to make him gobble. If he's still on a limb, might not even be crows calling yet, but if they're making him gobble and then there's a pause or something, they keep walking to get right up underneath them, and he's up in a tree, big dog. He can see a good long ways. So I'd say getting too close on the limbs, definitely one. Moving too quick. If you sit down and you set up on a bird, and he quits responding, I'd say getting up and moving too quick's another one. And then the third one, you hear it all the time, so it kind of sounds cliche, but it is true. Just overcalling.
Calling too much.
Yeah, just overcalling.
Well, I hit 2 out of 3 of them categories real quick.
Yeah,
The problem is I never hear him gobble, so I don't get close enough to him. If I did, my problem is when I do go, I'm terrible at sitting still. Like, I'm freaking terrible at sitting still. So, like, if I don't hear one, I'm like, well, maybe if I walk over that ridge right there, there'll be one over there.
Yeah. I'm
more of a, let's keep walking till we hear one, and then, okay, well, now I know where one's at.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. But then even then, I'd still goof up because a lot of times they'll shut up and probably be coming to you or could be coming to you, and I don't give them enough time. Now, this is back when I was putting a little bit more effort into it, but I just never could. I didn't really have a mentor for it either. I guess I didn't either for ducks, but it just kind of, I stuck with the ducks long enough that I got decent at it. So the turkeys, I just never really got decent at. But both of those make good sense. So when you're in the morning, if you go out, let's say birds don't gobble at all. It's just one of them mornings. They're not gobbling.
Yeah.
And at this point, they should all be off the limb and they're on the ground and you're just not hearing nothing.
Yep.
What do you do?
All right, so you were either moving, or if you know the property and you know a place, where they would probably go to. So like early in the morning, off the limb, a lot of times those are going to be like long roads, a place where they can see for a long way, especially now during the spring, like a good strut zone, a place where they'd be strutting back and forth. I'd definitely go somewhere like that and just set up, or if there's a place where that the birds visit frequently, that's not their roost site, which turkeys don't use the same roost site, every night. They do vary. There's some birds that it seems like they'll roost in the same tree every single night, but they don't. They'll move around a little bit, but just going to somewhere where you think they might be. And just setting up and just doing just some light calling, maybe every 15 to 30 minutes. Just do that for a little while and see what happens. A lot of times, man, I find myself just being still in the woods in the mornings, just listening. And, one will pop off somewhere. And then you just kind of make your move from there. Like, that's what I did this morning. I went in blind to a place that I had never been. I had a buddy who had hunted it, and he said during deer season there was a bunch of turkeys in there. So I went in blind, just did some scouting on Onyx, and just walked in the morning, didn't say a word. I never picked up a call, never crow called, never owl called. I found me a nice little knob. I sat down, and I just let the woods wake up, and turkeys will do their things. So, heard one gobble over here, one gobble over there, one gobble down the ridge. So I heard about 3 or 4 different birds this morning, and just never could get one to. They basically came down and split off and went all kinds of different directions. But that's all right. They'll be there. They'll probably be in that same area tomorrow, and tomorrow I got a plan for them.
Well, you'll probably lay the land a little better now.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you probably, if they were vocal when they got off the limb, you might have figured out a direction one or two of them may have been
you can slip around and cut them off.
Too. So maybe now tomorrow you go, okay, well, if he does that again tomorrow, and there's no telling if he will, but if he does that again tomorrow, maybe he'll be going around the backside of that ridge over there. So if I start over there or something, I might can cut him off.
Yeah. So at least 2 of the birds went the same direction this morning off the roost. And so I went down there a couple hours later. I actually moved to a different spot, came back, and just eased in real quiet, walked real slow, and used my binoculars to just scan the woods. And so I just crept in there in that direction that they went and found a logging road. And so that's where I'm going to go tomorrow.
There you go.
So that'd be a tactic, you could throw in there is, if you hear a bird and they're going a certain way, a lot of times that's probably the way they like to run that property, but
so next question, all the different turkey calls you got that, and correct me if I don't name them all. You've got
you won't.
Yeah, the ones that I know of. Let's go there. You got your diaphragm, you got your box call, you got your slate call, you've got your trumpets. We were talking about them earlier. You got the wing bone calls, and I'm sure there's others I didn't hit. But let's say out of those 5,
nail call.
A what call?
A nail call.
See, I don't even know what the hell that is.
Yeah, tube call.
Yeah, see, you can tell I'm a duck hunter, right? I'm a duck hunter. Yeah. But out of the calls, how in the world do you decide what you're going to use that morning? Do you just have like what works for you, or in certain situations is a box call better than a slate call, or in certain situations is a mouth call? But I know a mouth call to me it would seem like, okay, well that turkey can get in close and I'm not having to use my hands for anything, so I can stay still. But if you're trying
100%.
to locate one in the morning, is that not the best call to use, or is that all purely just opinion based on what you like?
So it is personal preference, but there are times when certain calls make more sense or when certain calls work better, right? So like a box, especially like a long box. I've got a couple long boxes, but like on a really windy day, you really need to get that sound out there, and you know how sound gets cut down.
Oh, yeah.
So, like a real, real loud box, so like a long box or even a regular box, but just on a box, you're able to get really, really loud. So, a box starting off, on a windy day, that would be a situation where you might want to use that.
Just so the turkey can even hear you, for one.
Yeah. Just so you can get the sound out, because, you can't get that loud on, any type of pot call. A box, you can hammer down on that sucker and get real, real loud. So that'll cut through some of that wind. So that'd be a time where you might want to use a box over, other calls. But other than that, man, it's really just kind of personal preference. It's whatever you like, whatever sounds best to you. That's why we also have different, like when it comes to our pots, we have a crystal, we have a slate, and we have a ceramic. So those are our three types of pots. And now ceramic, that's more of an all-weather. So have you ever used a slate call?
I have, yeah.
So like on a slate call,
not very well, but I have, yeah.
Yeah. So on a slate call, you can just like your fingers, if you touch it with your finger, the oils from your hands will transfer to that slate, and it'll create like a little dark spot on it.
Yep.
Right. So when it rains, that calling surface is done. Like if that calling surface gets wet, whether it's from your the oil from your hands or or rain or whatever, that call's done. Same with crystal. If crystal gets wet, it's not easy to run. But however, like a ceramic's more of an all-weather call. Especially, you can even run that call in the rain. You take a little like dab of JB Weld and put it on the end of your striker and let it harden.
No kidding.
You can run that sucker in the rain.
How about that?
Yeah. So, you just different things, man. I love all of our diaphragms, but we make different cuts for different people. Like I am a predominantly right side caller. So I call out the right side of my mouth. So when I'm looking at cuts on a diaphragm, I want to look for the more aggressive cut on the right side.
Okay.
So like if I'm looking at a combo cut, I want a combo cut on the right, not to the left. But they're like three diaphragms, which I always run of ours. And that's the Pro Bat, which is our most popular call. Actually, I wonder if yeah.
How about that?
Yeah, man. Yeah,
that's a nifty hat. Yeah.
We got a little call pouch. I love this thing, man. The only downside to it is, if you do run your calls a lot, and if you're a thick boy like I am, and you sweat, when you put it up there and on your hat band, that sweat keeps it wet.
Ah,
and
yeah.
You kind of want it to dry out a little bit, not all the way dry, because then your reeds will stick together. But you want it to dry out a little bit, So when it comes to the three calls that I run in my vest, I don't go hunting without them. It's this, which is our Pro Bat, our most popular call, the Tom's Downfall, which is a 2-reed version of this call. You just can't get as loud and as high on it, but man, you can do all the little whistles and all the little light stuff on that Tom's Downfall, and it's great with like real soft yelps. Awesome call. And then the third one is the Record Book call. And that's it's not really not a snake cut. You just have to look at it. But it's an aggressive cut call that's pretty raspy. So I like to run that call sometimes. Sometimes I like to throw a little raspier call at them. And sometimes, man, when it comes to different calls and like what to use, sometimes the turkeys want to hear something different. Sometimes I'll be running a diaphragm, and then I'll pull out my slate. and I'll start to run a slate, and I might get a gobble off of that, but they wouldn't gobble at a diaphragm.
Isn't that crazy?
It is.
I guess just different sound that sounded good to him.
Yeah.
Who told me this the other day? Said all the animal wants to hear is "I love you." He said if you can communicate that right, you can kill any animal. I don't remember. Somebody told me that the other day. I don't remember who it was.
Yeah. I mean,
He said, but that's all an animal really wants to hear. He goes, you just got to learn how to tell them you love me. He said, if you tell them you love them, they'll come to you.
yeah. That's probably the nice way of saying that, but yeah.
Yeah.
There's something else you could probably whisper to them.
Yeah, something else you probably. I was hoping not to keep this one a kids podcast for it to be kid friendly. But yeah, somebody told me that. That's going to drive me nuts. Somebody's going to listen to this and go, I'm the one that said that. I don't remember who said that. But anyway,
but whoever said it, they're correct.
They're not wrong. They're not wrong. They're not wrong. So again, talk to me like I'm 5. So is there a certain time you hear about raspiness in calls? Is there a certain time to where you kind of want that more raspier sound, or is that just kind of like a preference deal? Or I don't know. Like I said, talk to me like I'm 5.
No, I mean you definitely can have a call that's too raspy. But as far as like the raspiness of a call, it's all kind of preference and your calling style. I mean, everybody calls a little bit different. So some people don't drop their jaw as much, so they may make a call that I would run and sound, like mildly raspy. Theirs might sound, like a, 80-year-old smoker. Theirs might just be too raspy. But it's just all about personal preference and running different calls to see, what
fits you.
What fits you, exactly.
So let me ask you another, and for those of y'all that are experienced turkey hunters at this point, you're probably like, Robbie, why are you asking these stupid ass questions? But I'm literally, I'm wanting to learn. I've read and listened to, I think it was actually Michael Waddell. Somebody was talking about your turkey call can sound too flat. You don't want it to sound flat. What the hell does a flat sounding turkey call mean? Does that make any sense to you, that question, or not really?
Maybe if they're just doing one note, if they're just like, like they have like a medium note yelp that's just like, yelp, 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 yelp. If you do that and the only thing you're changing is your intensity or like how fast you're doing that same yelp, you don't want that. Like if you were just a yelp, 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 yelp. Meow, 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 meow. You're just changing up the number of times you do it. You definitely don't want that. I mean, you want to sound like a real hen in the wild, and if you ever listen to a real hen, she'll be. And that's just me doing it with my mouth, so that sounds absolutely terrible. But
sounds better than my actual call.
but she varies her pitches. She does a bunch of different things. Little whistles and purrs, and turkeys they make all kind of different ranges of notes. So you don't want to have just like a flat note. Maybe that's what he's talking about, if I had to guess.
Yeah, I don't. It was just something I was watching, reading, because I've been fiddling around with a few mouth calls and trying to get better at it, and I can half-ass sound like something, but I think a lot of it is just experience and time out there. You got to hear it. It's like anything else. You're going to get out what you put in.
Yeah.
And I haven't put in enough to get out anything.
Calling is 100% practice. It's practice and also practicing the right way, right? So I could sit here and, if I'm practicing the same way every time, I'm not getting any better. You really have to kind of watch videos, or and that's something that me and Drew also talked about is putting out a couple tutorials,
dude.
Because a
lot
of people, they just kind of keep their mouth clenched. And what you're really wanting to do is kind of drop that jaw. A lot of people don't do that, and so a lot of people, their notes do come out kind of like. If that was Mike Waddell you were talking about, they come out kind of flat because they're kind of just forcing air out the same way every time and not really throwing any type of variation in there.
Man, I would highly suggest y'all do that, because I know y'all probably say, well, we're selling calls to people that know what they're doing, but you'd probably be surprised. There's probably a lot of people, and again, I'll just straight up tell you, I'd listen to them. I'd try to figure it out because I'm not that great at it. But then again, I never had any mentors for that, for that style of hunting. And again, it's effort in versus, yeah. So sometimes people just don't know where to start, and they might feel, even a grown man, he might feel embarrassed to say, dude, I don't know how to blow this thing. How do I do this? Or does that cut go up or down when you put it in your mouth?
Yeah,
you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hell, if you don't know, you don't know, and they might be too proud to ask you. So it wouldn't hurt for y'all to put a few tutorials out there. It really wouldn't, especially if you've got, I don't know anything about how your website's set up, but if you got a little thing on there where you could put something on there, tutorial, put it on y'all's social media pages or whatnot, you'd probably be surprised at how many people would watch it and listen to it, especially if you're talking about he's a competition caller. And I know that, I don't know, well, I say I know, I don't know, but I'm assuming that competition calling, is it kind of like ducks where it doesn't always equate to a hunting scenario? Or is it a little different than duck?
Man, people will say that. People will be like, oh, turkey calling competitions, it's just like duck calling, where you're, the sounds you make in a duck calling competition, you ain't never going to hear a duck make in the wild. I don't agree with that when people say that about turkey calling competitions. Okay. I really don't.
I don't know enough about it. I was just asking.
I mean, and honestly, I don't know anything about a duck calling competition. I really don't.
But you just hear
I know how to run a duck call.
You just hear him screaming, quack, 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 quack. There are certain things that they'll do in a duck calling competition that doesn't truly equate to hunting, but any guy that's a good competition caller could probably go wear your ass out on a duck call somewhere.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, I was just saying, I guess getting back around to the tutorials, that would be a really good idea for y'all.
Yeah. If
I could make one suggestion from a guy who would listen that doesn't know how to call that great, and maybe even to the effect of like, hey, if a turkey set, gobbles back to you, you might want to try this. Or if he doesn't gobble back and you're trying to get one to shot gobble to you, maybe try that or something. Just anything that could kind of help people, because there's a lot of people that just don't know, man. Yeah, they really just don't know.
No, that's true.
All right, guys, we're back with you. Sorry, I had a little technical difficulty. This living out in the country, the internet service is questionable at best. Anyway, I'll let you take it from there.
Yeah. No, so we had talked about doing some of those things, like you were talking about, not really knowing how to blow a call that well.
Absolutely.
So that's one of my favorite things. With the trade shows and stuff we do. So we do like the Turkey Rama in Perry. We do the Outdoor Expo here, or up in Augusta. I guess Columbia County, but Grovetown. Yeah. So we do that one every year. And probably do some more. We've done the Palmetto Sportsman's Class a couple times.
Yep. That's up around Columbia, right?
Yeah, it's in Columbia, the Columbia Fairgrounds. So, and one of my favorite people that come through, like and it happens literally at every trade show, but like one particular instance was there was actually a game warden that came through this past year, a couple months ago at the Outdoor Expo in Grovetown. And he was, talking to us about calls, and he's like, man, I want to get into turkey hunting this year. He's like, I just don't even know how to blow a mouth call. So, worked with them on slates and boxes. And I said, man, come back tomorrow. 'Cause he was there all week, just helping out with the game wardens. I said, come back tomorrow and, and we'll work on your mouth call. So he went from having a mouth call, not being able to, not even make a sound with it. Couldn't even make a sound, put it in his mouth, couldn't even figure out how to make air go, between his tongue and the roof of his mouth to make a sound out of it. And I got him from that to yelping, like actually doing a legitimate yelp, in an hour.
That's awesome.
And I love that, man, especially with like kids. Kids will come through, and we actually do. I don't know if we have them on our website, but anybody listening to this, if you have a kid that wants a diaphragm, we do have youth frames too. So it's a regular diaphragm frame. It's just smaller. So it's a youth frame, and you can kind of trim the tape a little bit so it fits in a kid's mouth a little bit better.
Right.
So we do have youth frame calls for kids, but we've sold a lot of those trade shows, and that's one of the funnest things, man, is those kids. They'll put the diaphragm call in their mouth, and same thing. They don't even know how to make a sound with it, but to get them from can you make a sound, to start making some little squeals or, making it hiss or something, to helping them drop their jaw down, and actually getting like some semblance of a turkey sound out of it. Oh man, I love it. It's awesome. It's a lot of fun doing those trade shows. And just getting to meet a lot of cool people too.
Oh yeah.
And there'll be people, we meet that have bought our calls for years and years, and just never have met them before. They're just a name that pops up online, and we send them a call, and then, just getting to meet those people in person is pretty cool.
Right.
So yeah, I love doing those trade shows, man.
That's awesome. Yeah, trade shows, I feel like are kind of making a comeback. It seemed like, there used to be that real big one in Augusta years back, and then it kind of
yeah, it went away. Yeah, that one was huge.
It was, man.
Yeah.
It was, but trade shows in general kind of died there for a while. But you've got, NWTF up there now that's giant.
Dude,
that is just giant. You've got the big
huge.
Ducks Expo. You've got obviously the Safari Clubs, Safari Club International and DSC, Dallas Safari Club.
Yeah.
And then I think Dive Bomb does a real big one up there where they're at.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm not misspeaking on that, but I think Dive Bomb, I know they do because they do like a calling contest and all this stuff up there. I can't remember exactly what they call it. One of the other podcasts I listen to, they're sponsored by them, and I hear them talking about it every year when it's coming around. So
really?
It seems like trade shows are kind of making a comeback. There's just nothing like really going and walking around and touching and feeling. And
yeah, man, I love them.
You can't get the same experience by just looking at something online.
There's so many of them now too. I mean, I'd love to be able to go to all of them, but it seems like they're all squeezed into that late January to early March time frame. Like every single one of them, SHOT Show and Sheep Show in Reno, and I mean all those shows, all those trade shows, seems like they're squeezed into that small window. Now I'm always last year I didn't go to Nashville, because I have 2 kids under 2 now. So it's a little hard, but this next year probably going back to Nashville again. So I mean, and Nashville is just, it's crazy.
I need to make that show there. I'm thinking about going to the big Ducks Expo that they say is great, that Ducks Unlimited puts on. I think it's in July or August. It's during the summer this year.
Isn't it in Atlanta this year?
I thought that it was in Memphis because that's where Ducks Unlimited's headquartered at.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe
you may be right.
I need to fact check myself on that. Now, I went to that Dallas Safari Club. Now, it was in Atlanta this year.
DSC was?
Yeah.
I got a good friend of mine actually works for them now.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. They're actually talking about starting Dallas Safari, or was it DSCI, Dallas Safari Club International? Yeah. They're talking about starting up a chapter of it here in Augusta.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, I went to their show up in Atlanta. I don't know. It was a couple months ago, 2 months ago. I can't really remember. I went up there to see if I could find me a place in Africa to go shoot a duck because I need to go somewhere else to shoot a duck.
Yeah.
But that's what I went for, just kind of goofing off. It was a pretty good show. There was a lot of people there. It was a good time. But so before we wrap this up, now that you're in on ownership with Sweetwater, what are your goals with this business as far as where are you wanting it to be? Are you trying to grow it, or are you trying to kind of keep it? I mean, obviously y'all have a pretty solid business now. I know you have a big following around here. I see the hats everywhere. I see the social media posts, people killing a turkey and tagging Sweetwater. I mean, I see that all the time. I feel like about every other turkey I see on Facebook, especially locally, somebody will have Sweetwater game calls tagged or hashtag Sweetwater. So y'all have definitely built a hell of a following. I'll give you that, and kudos to you for that, for doing that. So you must have a good product and good customer service if people are still sticking around after 10 years. But where do you see it going, or what do you want to do with it?
Yeah, I mean, speaking just to the amount of people, that are running our calls, I think that goes back to the consistency of how we build calls. We try and make sure that anything that you buy that has Sweetwater on it is the best product that it can be. And, so we're trying to figure out how to scale that. The ultimate goal, like when me and Drew sat down and we're like, okay, what is our ultimate goal? for Sweetwater game calls, and it's basically to be recognized in the outdoor industry as one of the best brands when it comes to any type of animal calls, any type of hunting calls, and maybe expand into some camo and stuff like that later on. I like I like technical gear, especially for turkeys. I've tried out. I can't tell you how many turkey vests I own. I mean, I've tried out all kind of different gear. Just what works for me, what I like. But trying to get into some of that too. But right now is really just focusing on scaling our calls. Because it's really hard right now with to be able to keep up with, like, we don't have enough to stock a bunch of stores. Even if we're just doing local, obviously, we're not in, Bass Pro or Cabela's or Academy or, Shields, whatever. We're not in those, big box stores, but, like just the local mom and pop stuff, we're having a hard time, making sure that we have all those orders. So from here on out, it's just scaling it up, making sure we have enough calls to be able to stock all the stores around. So hopefully in the coming years, y'all be seeing Sweetwater game calls in a lot more stores here locally, and branching out and maybe some other states. But the ultimate goal is just to be recognized in the outdoor industry as a premium game call, where if you buy something that has Sweetwater on it, it's going to work. It's going to be great.
Well, I feel like that's a pretty good spot to end it right there.
Yeah, man.
I wish y'all nothing but the best. I don't think you really need luck because it seems like y'all are doing very well with it. I appreciate you coming on and talking today. And for anybody out here, I know you mentioned the website earlier.
Yep.
But anybody out here, because some people may listen to this that are not local, and the beauty about a turkey call is it's small enough that you can put it in a box and ship it to them.
I can ship it anywhere in the U.S.
Ship it, brother. So how can people follow you social media wise? Do y'all have any accounts y'all stay pretty active on there? Or if somebody wants to buy a call, what's the best way?
Yep. So that's another thing, that we've done very well with not having a big social media presence. We do have social media. Obviously, you have to this day and age, if you're a business. So we have Sweetwater Calls on Instagram, and Sweetwater Game Calls on Facebook. And then, of course, our website, sweetwatergamecalls.net. You can check any of those out, and hopefully we'll be putting out some more content coming here soon, because this turkey season, we're rocking and rolling and putting birds on the ground. It's the best time of year.
Well, guys, support a local business. Y'all reach out on via the website like he told you, and get one of those calls sent to your door. And hopefully I'm going to push him to try to get these tutorials out so maybe somebody like me could even kill a turkey one day.
Can I have a quick caveat?
Yeah.
Just wanted to let anybody that's listening locally know that on March 16th, so that's March 16th at 8 a.m., we're going to have a Jake's Day event. It's an NWTF sponsored event, but it is for kids. It's a kids fishing day, and it's going to be at Mr. Harold Ray's plantation. I don't have the address on me right now, but go to Briar Creek Heritage Chapter, National Wild Turkey Federation, Briar Creek Heritage Chapter on Facebook. You can find it that way, or you can go through the National Wild Turkey Federation's website, look on events, go to Jake's Day events or Briar Creek Heritage Chapter. You can find it either one of those ways. And we're going to be having a Jake's Day event on March 16th, and that's for kids from 3 to 16. Lunch is provided. You don't pay anything. Y'all just show up, have fun. We're going to have some prizes for biggest bass, biggest brim. There's several ponds down there, a bunch of space. And
Man, what an awesome thing.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time. Y'all don't have to pay anything.
How about that?
People showing up.
You don't see that much nowadays.
No. I mean, if you want to, I think it's like $10 for a Jake's, like a Jake's membership if you want to, but I'm not going to push it. I started that chapter to be able to have a bunch of, I started that chapter to be able to get kids back in the community, back outdoors. You know, I mean, we just hadn't had any like true outdoor kids events in the Waynesboro area in a long time. And this is not just for Waynesboro folks listening. You know, if you're from anywhere in the CSRA, Grovetown, Augusta, Rennes, you know.
Basically, if you're willing to make the drive.
If you're willing to make the drive, come on down, man. May 16th, starts at 8:30 a.m., going to run till noon, and it's going to be a good time just catching fish.
Guys, let's support these local folks like this that are doing this, local companies. You can't, you know, the big box stores, I'm not knocking them, but you need to support local. You really do. I'm a business owner, obviously. I've told y'all that. A lot of y'all that listen to this know me. I'm all about supporting local. And I had no idea until he just told me that they were doing that for the kids. And that's pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah, man. Honestly, I should have mentioned it before.
Yeah, no, we should have said that at the beginning of the podcast.
Yeah. I just thought about that. I was like, man, I need to, you know, get the word out too. Because right now it's just kind of on Facebook and me texting people, you know, saying, hey, come bring your kids out.
But guys, I really appreciate y'all continuing to listen to the Southern Flight Podcast. You've been listening to Ryan Crouch with Sweetwater Game Calls, and we'll see y'all next time.